The crowd is so enthusiastic.
Woo!
As they should be, because it's Monday.
Musical Monday.
Who doesn't love a good Monday?
Oh, it's my favorite.
Tell me more about that.
Well, Musical Monday is where we have extraordinary guests on and we just highlight their talent and hang out.
That's right. And to prove that it's Musical Monday, we have this nice little graphic that says so. So if there was any doubt in your mind, if you were thinking,
Let it
I
go.
don't know if it's really Musical Monday. I mean, yeah, it's Monday because the calendar says it. But and then you're saying, well, what is this show again? Well, let's find out. How does he do it?
I don't know. How does he do it?
It's years of radio, Tracy, years of radio, talking up to the post.
Quite impressive.
Thanks.
Yes.
I live to be quite impressive.
Yes.
That's why we're broadcasting from the sea.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Mm-hmm. We took our portable studio, we wandered off to open spaces.
Somewhere.
And Jane says, I think that's Jane up there, saying,
Underafakitri.
Jane. Thank you very much. Whoops. No, that's,
Wrong
sorry,
button.
wrong button. But who couldn't use a little laughter on a Monday morning?
I'll agree with that. Well, I am super excited today because we have my friend Bobby Wilson on.
And you knew that because you read the description, right?
Oh, and I posted for it.
And she posted for it. Just like...
Right, how are we today? We're good.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for asking. We could go on. We could talk for 20 minutes about how good we're doing, but then it wouldn't be musical. It'd be more like Mood Monday or
Mood
it
Monday.
wouldn't. And meanwhile, Bobby's over there going, "We didn't do this," or
Anytime
what? Yeah.
now.
Which is basically what all of our guests do.
Yeah, they just hang out and wait for us to stop talking.
So, by way of introduction, ladies and gentlemen, let us play you this clip as we do from our visiting musicians. Bobby Wilson performing. Just as we are raising the bar of this show higher and higher.
I love it.
Come on! Everybody, come on! Put your hands up just like that. Come on! That's it. Your love lifted me higher than I ever been lifted before. Come on! So keep it up, reaching my desire. I'm at your some love all around the world started right here in this room. Repeat after me. Let me hear you say higher, higher, higher. That's where your love. Oh, honey.
That's what I'm talking about.
Woo!
Ladies
Love
and gentlemen,
it.
Bobby, well, hold on. I just realized I have you on mute.
Up,
Have you on
up,
mute?
up.
Now. Here we go.
Hi, sweetheart. Welcome. Thank you.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
That is a high energy way to start our day.
Oh my heavens. That is pumping some energy and I love it.
Yeah, that's a good song. Good song.
It's a good song.
Clearly the offspring of Jackie Wilson, ladies and gentlemen. Bobby has been doing a tribute show for how many years?
Well, I did a tribute show for, well, I don't know, 15 years. But then I released my first album back in 2012. And I just been Bobby Wilson since then.
So obviously there's a long lineage of music in your bloodline.
Right. Usually I start off the questions of like, how did you get started in music? But you were kind of born into it. But your story's fascinating. So.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, I kind of wasn't born into it. I was born in Westbury, Long Island, New York, and raised in South Carolina. And my mom gave me up at birth. She was young, and I was raised in a great foster home in South Carolina. I had a lot of childhood problems, but physical problems, but made it through. And by the time I was, 12 years old, I started listening to a lot of soul music, a lot of gospel music, a lot of country music, because I was sick, so I couldn't go out and play as a young kid. So I didn't grow up knowing who my dad was.
Wow. So when did you find out?
Right when I started working for a group in Hawaii called the Love Notes. I was in the Navy. I got out of the Navy. I was 10 years into the Navy, but I started suffering what they call kidney stones.
Ugh.
I passed 8 of them.
Oh.
And I was stationed in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. And so I joined the Navy at 140 pounds soaking wet, but when I got out, I was around 240, 245.
Whoa.
Wow.
Navy
So I
folk.
look Samoan. I look Hawaiian or Samoan. So I wound up hanging up with the Samoans and the locals, singing karaoke. And a guy named Peter Hernandez walked into the karaoke bar and offered me a job with his group, a doo-wop group, doo-wop music called the Love Notes. And they were from Brooklyn, New York. And they transplanted themselves from Brooklyn to Waikiki. That's what started me off.
Awesome.
And yes, it was 7 guys, 7 girls, little boy, 6 years old. There was the star of the show named Bruno, doing Baby Elvis. And,
Baby Elvis.
I started working. Yeah, it's true. So I started working with that family, and that family started me off. Of course, Bruno and his parents, Pete and Bernie, paved the way for me into entertainment. I didn't really know that I wanted to be an entertainer until I joined that group. And when I joined that group, I was all in, and it was good. It was great. People started yelling from the audience, "You look like Jackie Wilson.
Huh.
Do you sound like Wilson?" And at the time, I was only doing background singing. That's what they hired me to be, one of the background singers. So I was very happy with that.
Yeah.
I was already a trained electronic engineer, so I already knew what I was going to do. I was only just killing time the first year I was on the group until I started my job in Sumter, South Carolina. But that never happened. After being on the group for about 8 months, I decided this is what I wanted to do.
So did
I
this feel
love
like,
it.
I would imagine this would feel like, because this is so in you, that
Right.
probably felt like this awakening, right? Like
It
just,
was a, but when I was in the Navy, I grew up in South Carolina. My mom was Southern Baptist. She was the baby girl of 12 brothers, and and her mother and her father both were ministers. They had a church in Cordia, Georgia. So she was very strong Christian, Southern Christian woman, so raising me up. So I have very strong Christian values growing up. So when I was in the Navy, I would spend a lot of my time at the back of the ship, which is called the aft. And I would look at the ocean, and about that time, Luther Vandross had came out, which I thought was fantastic. So I would take his album, put it on, and mimic the album singing, and pretend I was singing to an audience, which was the ocean and the stars and the moon. But I would
Oh,
pretend they were my, and that was my way of relaxing after a long day. We had 22, 23-hour days at sea.
wow.
And that was my way of getting away and relieving stress. And then I finally, growing up in the church, I read the Bible several times. So in the Bible, it says, if you don't believe God is a miracle worker, all you got to do is ask and try Him. And He says, try me. Think of something that is just impossible, that you think is impossible to come true, and try me. So I did. I asked Him, I said, I want to sing for a living. Now, I just re-enlisted in the Navy, got a $30,000 re-enlistment bonus because of my job, and 6 more years, which would have put me at 15 years in the Navy if I stayed in. So I just re-enlisted, and I prayed that prayer saying, I want to sing for a living. I don't want to do the Navy anymore. That's my miracle that I want. Didn't even think about it no more. And probably a year later, I was into the love note, singing, having a good time, and tears started coming down my eyes. And I wasn't sure why I was crying, but I was happy. I know I was extremely happy. And then I asked that question, how did I get here while I was singing? Because a lot of times when we're doing shows, we're on automatic because we do the same thing every night. And that show, same show, 7 nights a week, two shows a night. And it was not work for me. It was pleasure. But I remember asking, how did I get here? And I heard the voice resounding loud and clear. It said, you asked me. And from that day on, I've been leaning on God for all my decisions and everywhere I went. And shortly after that happened, that epiphany happened for me, that's when people started calling me Jackie Wilson, saying, you look like Jackie Wilson. How do you sound? Because I wasn't singing lead. And finally, Peter decided, hey, let me let this kid sing lead. He says, you think you can sing the Jackie Wilson High and High and Lonely Teardrops medley? Because in the show, we did all this doo-wop music, and then we had a section of the show where we did little light impressions of some stars like Roy Orbison, Buddy Holly, and Johnny Mathis. And there was a guy in the group already doing the Jackie Wilson medley. He'd been with the group from the inception of the group, so that was his medley. But I don't know, but Peter just said, I want to try you on the medley, which pissed the guy off, of course.
Yeah, right.
But when I did it, something kicked into me, and I just went nuts. It's the first time I sung lead, and people just went crazy. The reaction from the audience was amazing. And then Paul Revere of Paul Revere Narrators walked in the show because he and John Stewart, producer of Legends in Concert, that's a home show that's here in Vegas, opened Legends in Concert in Hawaii at the Waikiki Sheraton Hotel, which was right next to us. Not the Sheraton, but the Royal Hawaiian, I'm sorry. Not the Sheraton, but at the Royal Hawaiian, they opened the Legends in Concert show in the Aloha showroom, 1,000-seater. And they heard about Bruno. So they decided they wanted to come over and see this little Elvis. And they created this little spoof where Bruno would come out singing when they introduced Elvis. You know, there is, ladies and gentlemen, the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. Da 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 da. And Bruno would walk out, and the audience just, break up, and he'd start singing, "That's all right, Mama. That's all right." Until the real Elvis in the show walks out, going, "Hey, kid, take a hike or whatever." I don't know how they did the routine. I never saw it, but it was I guess it was a funny routine. So they hired Bruno for that. And when Paul came to see Bruno, he saw me. And Paul Revere said, "Hey, I need you to, you know who you look like?" And I was like, "Yeah." He says, "I want you to do Jackie Wilson for my show. You got to do Jackie Wilson." I said, "Man, I don't even know who Jackie Wilson is. I know the music, but I don't know who he is."
Wow.
What do you mean you don't know who he is? He's the Black Elvis. What are you talking about? Paul went crazy. I don't know if you know the character of Paul Revere, but he was the funniest man I've ever met in my life. And a great entertainer. He was with the band, Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Yeah.
And we lost him a few years ago to brain cancer. But man, he was the most, I didn't even know he was an entertainer because I knew him as the owner and the guy that ran the show for Legends. And I would run into him on the island 2 or 3 times. The last time I ran into him, I was at Bobby McGee's, which was a nightclub in Waikiki, a very famous nightclub. And Paul and Sid was walking into, his wife Sid, were walking into Bobby McGee's, and he said, "Didn't I tell you I want you to do Jackie Wilson for my show?" I said, "Paul, I'm not an impersonator. I'm an artist." He goes, "Artist from artists," like that. And he grabs me by my ear like this and said, "Come here!" Drags me to his car. He and Sydney was just moving into Waikiki, the house they bought. So, because he's coming in for the show, and he opens up his trunk and it's full of album covers, and he does like this, and pulls out Billy Ward's Dominoes. And when he pulled it out, I freaked out because it was the first time I saw a picture of anybody that looked exactly like me. It looked like I was 15 years old in the picture, and it looked like a way I would stand, and it looked like a way I would be. I mean, it looked like me being cocky.
Right.
And I was like, "Oh my God!" And Paul goes, "Who's that? Who's that? Who's that?" I was like, "That's Jackie Wilson." He goes, "Yes. Boy, you need to do your homework. Go do some homework and bring me a show. Have you seen my show?" No. So he took me to see his show. And when I went to see his show, I was blown away because he had a Michael Jackson guy, E. Casanova. He had Madonna, Eileen. He had Jonathan Van Brana's Elvis, and another guy named Tony Roy, and Gary Moore as Little Richard, who looked just like Little Richard. I was like, man. So after I saw the show, Paul goes, "You think you can do that?" I said, "Man, I don't have any idea. I just got on the Love Notes. Well, I had been on the show about 3 years. As far as I was concerned, I just started. I said, I have no idea how to bring that, how to create that persona." And he said, "All you got to do is dream. Can you dream?" I said, "What? Can you dream?" I said, "I can dream. I've been dreaming my whole life." "Good. Before you go to sleep, I want you to dream of yourself on the stage with the dancers and the band and the singers, I want you to dream of the whole thing every night. Promise me that. And then you got 6 months to bring me an audition." And I went, "Okay." I had no idea he was teaching me dream building. I had no idea.
Some serious visualization there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea. And I just picked up a book by Deepak Chopra called 7 Spiritual Laws of Success.
Yeah.
I know it well.
And it came, and that came up, the visualization. I was like, wow. So I really dove my feet into it. And then I gave him an audition in 6 months. He and John Stewart hired me on the spot. and Jackie Wilson name, people started calling me Jackie, but I didn't care because I was, putting the show together, and I was doing my thing. Now, the thing about Jackie Wilson was when I started doing it back in '94, now I'm dating myself, there was no video on Jackie Wilson. There was no way I could figure out his moves and how he was. All I found was a paragraph of Jackie Wilson in the library as I dug. And it said, acrobatic singer, very charismatic, exciting on stage. That was it. And I knew that Paul Revere and Dick Clark were partners in business. They had 3 or 4 nightclubs and different types of businesses happening at that time. So I asked Paul, could you ask Dick Clark to give me some videos? Because I knew he had the American Bandstand, and Jackie was on the American Bandstand 30 or 40 times. So he asked Dick Clark, hey, I got my guy here, he needs some videos so he can study Jackie. And Dick Clark said, nope, wouldn't give us none. Wouldn't give us a video. That's his video. He wouldn't give up anything. Which surprised Paul because they were into business together. He was like his brother. He said, that's my brother, Dick Clark. I can get you some video, blah, blah, blah. That's how Paul was. That's my brother. I can get anything. He said no.
Oh, no.
I didn't see any video on Jackie Wilson till Jackie Wilson till YouTube came up and people started posting it. Now they got it. But anyway, I backtrack. I did, when I was putting Jackie Wilson together, order a video from Blockbuster called Shindig. And I had a friend of mine help me. Well, I thought she was going to help me put it together, but when we finally saw the very first video of him, and we were sitting down to study him, I realized I was already doing them and I didn't know it.
Wow, it just was there.
Mean. Yeah, I was being me, and I was already even doing his dance moves, and she kept turning around, looking at the video, looking at me, looking at the video. She goes, her husband walked in the room while I was watching, oh, Bobby, when did you do this video?
Decades ago.
I said, that's not me. He goes, what do you mean that's not you? I said, that's not me. I said, that's Jackie Wilson. And he goes, holy crap. Dude, you already him. I was like, yeah. Well, it wasn't until they sent me to Atlantic City and Paul Revere said, hey, Bopper, we got shows all over the place. I want to send you to Atlantic City. Jackie Wilson ruled New York. He ruled. He was the king of New York. I'm like, okay. Never been to Atlantic City, New Jersey before. And I hadn't traveled from, once I got stationed in Hawaii in 1985. And once I got there, I never really left. And when I got out of the Navy, I stayed. I mean, that was my new home, even though I was raised in the South, which one of the reasons why I joined the Navy is because I was raised in the South.
Bob was raised in the South.
Total different, and I had a total different life too. I was on. One of the things I joined the Navy is I needed to get out of South Carolina. It was not at that time anyway, it was not a good place for me. And my mom's like, you got to get out of South Carolina. She wanted me gone because my mom that raised me, because it was monotonous. But anyway, the Navy changed my life. Living in Hawaii changed my life and my ideal life. And once I got to Atlantic City, working at Bally's Park Place, that's why I was doing my job. There was a group that was watching me that I didn't know was watching me. The group is called the Four Tops. So I'm sitting in there, I'm doing my show, I'm being Bobby, no big deal, whatever that was. And I get a call from the entertainment director, comes to my show after. We did 2 shows a day, 3 o'clock show and 7:30 show, or the matinee. And after the matinee, he came and said, hey man, you know the Four Tops? I said, well, I know the group. They're great, I love them. He goes, no, you don't. Do you know them personally? I said, no. Well, they know you. They want to meet you. I'm like, they know me. He goes, yeah. They said they know you. So let's go. We're going up to the green room. They're here. I said, the Four Tops are here? He goes, yeah. They've been doing corporate shows all week. Nobody knew they was in the hotel. They were doing corporate shows. I'm like, okay, we're going to see the Four Tops. Whee! You know. I get up there, man, and they are looking at me like I was something from another planet. They were staring at me, and it was like, and I was like, and I said, are you being Bobby right now, or are you being Jackie Wilson? I said, I'm Bobby. I wouldn't know what Jackie Wilson would be like on stage. And they laughed. They all bust out laughing. And started asking me questions, and Levi Stubbs said to me, looked me nose to nose, and he said, you got to get up early in the morning to be anything close to my cousin, which I had no idea what he was talking about. So, and then I realized he was saying that Jackie Wilson was his cousin, his first cousin. But it didn't dawn on me what he was saying at the moment. And then he kind of stepped back, and then Lawrence Payton embraced me, which was the guy that really handled all the harmonies on Four Tops. He made sure the guys were sharp. And he kept saying, you're family, you are family. I know you're family. And it wasn't until they started asking me questions about my birth mom. And I realized that they knew her. And they told me, oh, we know your mom. That my dad and my mom had a connection. And that was the beginning for me.
Wow.
And that opened my eyes to a whole new different world. Now, I remember before that happened, I was working in Hawaii, and the show closed, and I was waiting, and I stopped doing entertainment altogether and started working as Herbie vacuum cleaner salesman. Because the show's closed, you know, when a show closes, it's over. I mean, forget it. Everything was done. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And so I started working for Kirby. I actually enjoyed it because I became the #1 salesman for them in Honolulu. And then I get a call in the middle of my, probably 6 months into the job. I get a call from nowhere. Said, hey, we're opening a new show. We want you to come do Jackie Wilson. And I remember saying, I don't do Jackie Wilson anymore. I'm not in the show. I'm not in show business. And the guy that hired me, I knew who he was. And he says, yes, you are. Which means I couldn't say no. So you are to report to rehearsal at such and such a place at such and such time. And I was like, okay. And I went back. And I remember asking God, why Jackie Wilson? Because even though they connected the dots and said, he's that was before I met the Tops. But before I met the Four Tops, I said, why Jackie Wilson? Why every time I try to pull away from Jackie Wilson, I'm brought back to Jackie Wilson? Because in '95, a year after I started with Legends, I got a record deal with Columbia Records. And the producer who picked me up, we did 3 or 4 songs together, and they took it to Columbia Records, and they loved it. It was originals that I wrote. And they said, oh, let's do the rest of the album. But at that time, the record business was changing, so they didn't give you advances. Or they didn't say, okay, here's the money to finish the album. They just said, finish the album and then come back to us. Well, I paid for the first 3 songs, which was over 10 grand. So I was like, I'm not going to pay no more money. They either want me or they don't want me. And the guy was upset with me. No, get the money. They love you. I said, well, if they loved me, they would give me a contract. Yeah. But I didn't realize the music business changed. They wanted the full product already done. Mm-hmm. Then they would distribute it. But I didn't understand that, so I kind of just dropped out. And didn't worry about it anymore. Went back to the shows. And then when the shows closed, I thought it was over, but I realized real quickly that God wasn't through with me. And when I got the call out of the blue, we're starting the show and we want you to star in it. And I said, well, who else is in the show? He says, well, we got Bruno in the show, and we got his mother, Bernie, and you so far. That's the show. You, Bruno, and Bernie. And I'm like, well, what are we doing? He says, well, you're going to do Stevie Wonder and Jackie Wilson and host. Bruno is going to do Michael Jackson and Elvis, and his mother's going to do Tina Turner and Whitney Houston. That's the show. I'm like, great. So we're just going to be interchanging on the show. And we had 10 or 12 dancers and a great band, and it was in a great showroom. So I went, and that's when I reconnected with Bruno. He was probably 15 at the time. But Bruno didn't want to do Elvis no more. He just wanted to do Michael. And he had a boy band that he put together. So we hired another guy named Chris Taylor to do Elvis. And that was the show, And then we added different people later on, Celine Dion and a girl named Sally. And then I think we added another girl because Bernie was running the girls and she didn't want to work that hard. She started doing Tina Turner. And so we brought in a Whitney Houston so that she can be relieved because it was too much work for 3 people.
Sure.
But it was fun. We had a great run. So we did that to 2000. Bruno moved to L.A. with his big sister, Kalani, and then I moved to Vegas. And then that's when the wheels fast forward.
So
Awesome.
let us take this opportunity.
Yep, we're going to play another song.
To play another song, another familiar,
Oh!
a song from you, coming from your lips. Let's check in another, and then we're going to bring us up to the present with Bobby. So here we go.
Soul music. Yeah! I like traditional soul, and this guy's one of them. His name is Percy Sledge. He put out a couple good songs. Here's one of them. When a man loves a woman, can't keep his mind on nothing else. He'll trade the world for the things found.
great. Well, hold on. I think I
You're
muted
muted.
you
Yeah,
again.
hold
Sorry,
on.
that's me. That's me. That's me. That's me. That's me.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
And I love when a man loves a woman.
That's right. I base my whole life on that song. So let's quickly bring, because your story is so rich and layered. I had no idea. I mean, obviously we could sit here and listen to this
Wow.
thing unfold for a long time, except that we can't. So I want to bring us up to the present and find out what you're doing. I mean, obviously the situation with COVID and everything has changed a lot of live entertainment.
Right.
Oh, it's crazy.
Especially here in Vegas.
Yes, Vegas for sure.
Crazy.
But
It's a world change, man. It's a world change. So
It is.
indeed.
Yeah,
So
no, I'm just writing. I got, excuse me, I got into screenwriting a long time ago when I started working for Legends, because I used to get bored sitting there waiting for the show to end. So I really dove into my writing, working on a book, and I recorded with a group on a record label called Plateau Music, which is Tony Mancher, my old manager from the record label, but. I'm no longer on that label, but we did produce a great album called It's About Time. And you can find it on iTunes and Spotify and all the streaming networks. But we did a lot with that. So right now, I'm just concentrating on writing until, because it's a new world. I'm not sure where it's going. So again, I'm trusting God to guide me into where we're going from now.
yeah, okay. So and I know everybody's going to land on their feet eventually. So so this last video that you shared with us
Right.
is obviously, has been done since the situation, and everybody's
We
at
did it in
home.
the yeah.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about this song before we play it.
Well, this song was one of my second released on my album. It's About Time. It went to I had 4 songs to reach top 10 in adult contemporary, that was 2015 for this song. And it also is trending in South Africa. As a matter of fact, before the COVID hit, we were planning a tour in South Africa. But the song is a great song about love and expressing to and then reassuring the one that you love that your heart is full and you can't give them no more than what you already give them. Sometimes in relationships, it's hard to show or prove to somebody that how much you care for them, especially if there's some insecurities. So that's where that song came from. And the band that I work with out of New York called the Coda Band, we do a lot of shows. We do a lot of the oldie circus and the oldie network, but this last couple of years I've been emerging as my band. And we've become a unit and decided that we wanted to do something for the fans, because everybody was asking me to do a live show on Facebook Live, which I don't really want to do. Just trying to wait it out until the live shows come down. But I had to give them something, and this is what we decided we want to give them. So,
Well, I can't wait to share it with folks, but I just wanted to thank you first of all for your time and just a riveting tale.
Your story is amazing.
It really is.
My God.
I only knew little pieces of it, but the nuance of how the Four Tops piece and all of that, it's riveting. Now, this book you're writing, is it your story?
it's my story.
Okay, good. So everybody can get caught up, and then when the book releases, you can come back on the show. We'll do a book club.
My reason for writing is not for me, it's for everybody else. There's a lot of children that got caught up in the foster care. It's a lot of feelings and emotions that we haven't gotten that kids grow up with. So I wanted them to be inspired by my life and to also never give up their dream, never give up their hopes and dreams. And no matter, some homes are not great homes. I was in a great home the whole time I was in the foster home. My mom, who raised me, is my mom. She's my mom. She's in heaven now, but she's always my mom. And so I just want, I know it's a lot of people out there that had my lifestyle where they were placed in foster homes, and if they had great lives, good. But if not, I want them to know there's hope and there's God, and that they can do anything in this world they want to if they make their mind up with it. And that's it. That's the reason I want to write the book, or I am writing the book. So
Well, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Bobby,
You're
thank you
awesome.
so
I
much.
love
This
you,
has been a
honey. Thank you
delight.
so much.
And I know everybody's been appreciative. The comments have been great. They say
Yep.
they can listen to you all day and all of those things.
I know, like the comments are crazy.
So I
it.
hope they do go seek you out, and let's leave everybody with
Yes.
one more piece. This piece that he did with his band from remote locations. It's quite amazing. I Can't Love You Anymore.
Girl, I didn't mean to make you cry when you asked if I would ever say goodbye. Last thing I wanted was to hurt you bad. Please don't be sad after all we had. I try to tell you every time we touched. It's time you knew the truth about us. I can't love you anymore than I do right. Baby, there's no doubt. There is no room. Baby, my heart is full. You fill my soul, I'm sure. I can't love you anymore. Girl, you couldn't lose me if you try. I'll spend my life right by your side. So dry those teardrops running down your face. This is your place, and that'll never change. If you got questions on your mind, listen up, girl, don't waste your time. I can't love you anymore than I do right. Baby, there's no doubt. There is no room. Baby, my heart is full. You fill my soul, I'm sure. I can't love you anymore. See, action speaks 1,000 words. Let me hold you if you haven't heard. I can't love you anymore than I do right. Baby, there's no doubt. There is no room. Baby, my heart is full. You fill my soul. I can't love you anymore than I do right. Baby, there's no doubt. There is no room. Baby, my heart is full. I can't love you anymore.
Sometimes we turn up our own microphone so that we can be heard after the guest is done.
Oh, Bobby, thank you so much. Your voice is just angelic and
So
amazing.
again, another musical Monday, knocking it out of the park because the quality of the people that we
Just-
brought in here.
Amazing.
So I'm sure you'll all be here next Monday when we have.
Another amazing talent.
That's right. We're gonna keep debating. Tomorrow's Tech Tuesday
Oh,
on the Bob
I'm
Doyle
so
Show.
excited for tomorrow.
I'm super excited. We've got.
Yeah, we got some fun stuff too. Yes. All right. Well, we love you guys very much. Have an amazing day, and we love you.
Receive your kiss.
Yes. There you go.